This morning, before I get started on this video, I do want to make a comment on something to deal. Is there a way to deal with these white supremacists that claim that their whiteness is what makes them of the lost tribes of Israel? All right, so all you have to do is go into the. This is how you deal with these people, okay? You go to your scripture, and I prefer to use Bible Hub, and my father was a wandering Aramean. What is an Aramean? Aramean is a Syrian, okay? All right, okay, let me go to this 26 and verse 5. And when you are come into the land which not the Lord God, but Jehovah Elohim gave you for an inheritance and possess it and to dwell it. Okay? Then you shall take of the first of all the fruit of the earth which you shall bring unto the land, shall bring of the land that Jehovah has given you. And you shall put it in a basket, and you shall, that's not money, that's fruit of the land. And you shall go into the place which Jehovah Elohim shall choose, that was Jerusalem, to place his name there. And you shall go to the priest, the Kohen, and in those days, and say unto them, I profess this day unto Jehovah Elohim, that I am come into the country which Jehovah swore unto our Ab for to give to us. And the Kohen shall take the basket out of your hand and set it down before the altar of Jehovah Elohim, and you shall speak these words, and you will say before Jehovah Elohim, a Syrian, an Aramean, ready to perish was my Ab when he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few and became a nation great, mighty, and populous. So, these people, these so-called white supremacists and black supremacists, who claim that they are the real chosen people, dare them to go look, to do a DNA test and find Syrian blood in them. Dare them to do it. Now, let us go to the subject at hand. I want to read something to you. You will not understand. Let's see here. So it is the contention of Christians that Jehovah has rejected the Jew forever. That is a lie. Isaiah, or Isaiah, which is correctly pronounced, the righteous perish and no man sets it to heart. Merciful men are removed. Discern that the righteous, understand this, that the righteous are removed from the face of adversity. They shall enter into peace, and they shall rest in their beds, each one walking in his uprightness. But come here, you sons of the sorceress, the seed of the adulterer, and the whore. Against whom do you sport yourselves? Who's sporting themselves against whom? With a wide mouth and you draw out the tongue. You are children of transgression, a seed of falsehood, inflaming yourself with idols under every green tree. And this coming December the 25th for Christians will be a testimony against them. This particular statement with your evergreen tree, and you will be there committing idolatry. And it is in the same idols that they killed their own children in the valleys of the cliffs and the rocks. Okay? And in those days, it was ancient Israel. Today, it's the Christians that are doing this. All right? Now, listen to what it says here, verse 14. I will say, cast you up, or lift you up, prepare the way, take away the stumbling block out of the way of my people. Stumbling block from what? Stumbling block from the Holy Land. For thus says the high and lofty one that inhabits eternity, whose name is Kadosh. I dwell in the high and holy place, and contrite and of humble spirit, to revive the ruach of the humble, and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. For I will not contend forever, or even of long duration. He's not going to be contentious with Israel forever. Please pardon me because I'm dealing with arthritis right now. Neither will I always be angry, for the ruach should fail before me, and the souls which I have made. For the iniquity of his covetousness was I wroth, and I smote him. And I hid myself, and was wroth. And he went on froward in the way of his heart. He continued to be froward. I have seen his ways, and I will heal him. What? What? That's what he says. I will create the fruit of lips. Peace, peace to him that is far away, and to him that is near, says Jehovah, and I will heal him. But I want you to show you something. But the wicked of the yam, the wicked of the Mediterranean Sea, the wicked of the will be cast out. The wicked of the Mediterranean Sea are going to be cast out. It cannot rest, whose waters cast up mire and dirt. There is no peace, says Elohim, to the wicked. Now I know some of you are thinking that I am taking liberties with Scripture. I am not. I'm telling you the truth. Now what I want to do, I can't seem to sit in one place for very long, is I want to go to Matityahu 24:24. No, it's not Matthew, it's Matityahu. I want to show you something. And I have often in the past shown you that there is this tribulation and this tribulation. And to provide more proof, I believe it's here. Okay. at what it says here in verse 24 of Mark 13. But in those days after that tribulation. I told you over and over and over and over again that there is that tribulation and this tribulation. Okay? Let me show you. Okay, so you see it right here. But in those days after that tribulation, you see here, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel prophet standing where it ought not. What was that abomination of desolation stand where it ought not? Then let that he be in Judea flee to the mountains. Well, if you think that that's, what's his name? Vespasian's son Titus already surrounding Jerusalem, you're wrong. Because when Titus was surrounding Jerusalem, it was already too late. It was when 2 Caesars prior, was it 2? Caligula, when he had the graven image of himself as Deus Pater, that's right, I said it like that. Let those of you who know Latin understand. He ordered the graven image of himself as Deus Pater installed in every Jewish house of worship, including the temple in Jerusalem. And what does it say? Standing where it ought not. That's right, standing where it ought not. Let him that reads understands. And some of you, the 100% of Christianity believes that this event never occurred. And I'm telling you that 100% this event did occur. It did. You can look it up. Where it ought not. And some people claim, well, they didn't put it in the temple in Jerusalem. Yes, they did. And while they were trying to set it up, the Jews threw it out. And that's what caused the Great Revolt. He said, when you see that happening, let them that are in Judea flee into the mountains. There was several years. I'm trying to remember how many it might have been. I think it might have been 10 years. I'm not sure. That they had time to flee to the mountains in the south. Not in the north. Not in the west, but in the south. I believe it was in the Sinai Peninsula. And take it so seriously, let him is up on the housetop not come down into the house, neither enter there back therein, or you got to leave and leave fast. Do not hang around. Now, so it says, for in those days shall be affliction, such as was from the beginning of time, not was in the beginning of time, which Elohim created unto this time, neither shall. So there will never be another situation like what happened in those days. So when they try to tell you that there is a great tribulation coming upon Israel and that they're going to be scattered into the nations once again, they are lying. It is opposite of the truth. And what you see right now is you see that the Jews in Israel have kicked Iran out of Syria. If it weren't for the Israeli attacks on Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Syrian rebels would have no chance of overthrowing Bashar Assad. And so the state of Israel has now taken Mt Hermon, which will never be used against Israel again. And they have systematically destroyed the whole air force of the Assad regime. But anyway, except that Jehovah shortened those days, the days of Israel's reduction and the Gentiles' dominion, except he shortens those days, no flesh would be saved. Why? Because there's coming a nuclear war, as I have pointed out to you over and over and over and over again. But for the elect's sake, who are the elect? Well, according to Paul in Romans 11, verses 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29, Israel are the elect for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's sake. But for the elect's sake whom he has chosen, he has shortened the days. Now, it says, but in those days after that tribulation, the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall not give her light. Now let's go to Matityahu. But now, a connective or adversive particle. What do you mean? Let's look at it. A weak adversative particle generally placed second in its clause, but, or on the other hand, on the flip side. That's right. On the other hand, on the flip side. On the flip side, after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the sky. The sky. Now, it also says abode of the stars, but in this particular case, it's talking about the sky, and because it's falling from the sky to the ground. What are these things? I have shown you. It's in Revelation 9 verses 17 and 18. What it is. And in Yoel 2, in the last two verses, blood in the sky, blood in the earth, and Timara, which mean palm-like columns of smoke, nuclear weapons. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in the sky. as soon as you start seeing the nukes falling out of the sky, then you're going to see the sign of the Son of Man in the sky. And here's what it says right here. Then shall all the tribes of the earth be cut off. Not mourn, cut off. They will be stricken. They will be smitten by what? Zechariah. Got to try to remember where I was here. They will be struck. They will be smitten. Zechariah 14 says exactly how they are going to be smitten. Where is my Strong's Concordance? 14. This is the stroke, the blow. This is how they are going to be, to strike or to smite. This is how he's going to do it. Listen carefully. All the people who fought against Jerusalem. Oh, so now it's getting more specific. The Romans. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. Their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue, and there shall consume away in their mouth. In that day, a great tumult, a great war, a tumult, confusion, disquieted from Jehovah will be, and they shall lay hold every one the hand of his neighbor. That is a world war, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. While Yehuda will be at Jerusalem and fighting. Okay? That's how they are going to be, Gentiles are going to, and now you know who is going to be stricken. Okay? So all the tribes of the earth will be struck, will be cut off, stricken, and smitten. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of the sky and with power and great glory. And he will send his messengers with, is it exactly on the great sound of the trumpet, of the shofar, I mean? With, after, or among. So which one is it? With, after, or among? Behind or beyond? Now it says, after of place, after of time, but it also says behind or beyond, so it can be in front of or behind it. Got it? Now I want to show you one more thing. We have to go to Luke 21, and just to, we saw how Israel had its tribulation. There shall be sign in the suns and the moon and the stars and upon the earth, distress, that's tribulation. Distress, anguish. That sounds like tribulation to me. Oh, and they will be constrained as well. They will become helpless, constrained. So the tribulation will be on the Gentiles. after the tribulation upon Jerusalem. When does the tribulation upon the Gentiles come? When the time of the Gentiles ends. That's the time of the Gentiles' domination ends. When Jehovah brings this great world war among the Gentiles where they start nuking each other. All right? So as I pointed out, when they start nuking each other, this is when you, all Israel and all Zionists around the world, when you see these things come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads. Don't hide yourself, lift up your heads, for your redemption draws nigh. And lift up your heads means to look up. And to exalt. This is to rise up, to be high, to be happy. When you start seeing, why? Why? Because the Gentiles are going to lose their chokehold that they have on all the Jews and Zionists around the world. They will lose their chokehold on the state of Israel. That's right. Now, I want to point out something here in Daniel 12. The time shall come when Michael, or Michael, will stand up, the great Tsar, chieftain, ruler, captain, which stands for the children of your people, who are Daniel's people. That would be Israel. Now, King James Version says, there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation even to that time and at that time. That's not what it says. It says, there shall be a time of adversary, trouble, tribulation. On who? On the Goy. You see what King James Version did? They did not want to put that word there. They did not want to put the Gentiles there. They did not want to put the nations there. They did not want to put Goy there. But there it is, right there in front of you. The tribulation is going to be upon the Gentiles. And at that time your people shall be delivered. Just as Paul said in Romans 11, verse 25 and 26. When the time of the Gentiles comes to the end, when the Gentiles receive their tribulation, all Israel shall be delivered. All that are found written in the book. And many abundance of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Many to everlasting life, but some to shame and everlasting contempt. Well, I'm not the judge and neither are you. So don't point the finger and claim you know who. So you see, there's more proof of what I just told you. Now, I want to show you something. You see in 1 Corinthians 15, 51, 52, no, it does not describe the resurrection of Christians, in spite of what you're being told. So let's look at it quickly. Now you know we just read before or in front of or behind. I just showed it to you. Verse 52, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last, in, on, at, by. Okay. So you invite a bunch of people to your house for celebration, right? Understand there are language differences. If somebody came, in other words, one person was following another to your house, did they come together? Of course, that's a trick question. The answer is yes, they did, but one was behind the other. If people came to your house in the same car, but they got out of the car and one went to the front door and the rest waited in the car before the host says, come on in, and then they all got out of the car and they went in. Who went in first? Well, the one who knocked on the door, but the others came with him. You see what I'm saying? In the twinkling of an eye, at, with, on, or by. The last shofar. Now, make sure. Okay. All right. But I want to show you something here. Where did Paul get this from? Where did Paul get this from? In rabbinic literature, the phrase is often used to describe something that happens instantaneously. Often, but not every single time. For example, the Mechlita collection of Midrash on Exodus says, not God, but Jehovah does not delay matters for even the twinkling of an eye when the appointed time for redemption comes. So even they knew that the appointed time of redemption comes for Israel. Yes, that's right. They know this. I'm not saying that Paul didn't get this information from Yehoshua. What I'm saying is the Jews knew this. And they know it now. What I'm going to show you is, where is this here? Okay. So the Mechlita, specifically of the Rabbi Ishmael, is considered to have been compiled around 3rd century CE, with its core material potentially dating back to the time of Rabbi Akiva. So what Rabbi Akiva, 50 CE. That's in the days of Paul. They knew. They knew. In those days, he was a chief of the sages. They knew. And it's still true. Now, what I want to show you is Revelation 10 and verse 7. But in the days of the voice of the 7th messenger, when he shall begin to sound. Well, there you have it, Henry. You're wrong. No, I'm actually correct. Let me show you. To be about to. Just before. When he intends to sound, when he is destined as before he sounds. I intend to, I am about to, I delay, I linger. Oh, so technically, with the way Western people think, it is still within the realm of the sixth shofar sound. But not with the way Middle Eastern people think. Because it says, in the days of the voice of the seventh messenger, when he hasn't quite sounded yet, the mystery of Jehovah should be completed. So that would be at the very ending of the sixth shofar sound. Is when all this is going to happen. Now, here in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to go over when the day, that's right, the date of redemption. No, I don't know the day or the hour, but the date of redemption, I should say I don't know the day and the hour. The date of redemption is Hanukkah. That's it. And I will be going over it. But I will leave you with this. It's in Haggai 2, verses 18 through 22. Set now this day, and upward now, in other words, set it up as a high day. Very interesting, isn't it? Set it up high. And forward. Above and forward. How do I know it's forward too? Above and over. That's forward. Metaphorically, it is above or higher than something else, so it is now a high day. Superior or higher in status. Okay? Why? Why do this? Well, because on that day, he's going to bless them. On that day, he's going to deliver them. How do I know this? Well, we keep reading. And again, the word of Jehovah came to Haggai in the 24th day of the month. The 24th day of the 9th month is Hanukkah. Speak to Zerubbabel, the governor of Yehuda, saying, I will shake the heavens and the earth, and I will overthrow the thrones of kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the Gentiles, and will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the war birds and their riders shall all come down, every one by the sword of his brother. In that day, says Jehovah of hosts, I will take you, Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel means begotten in Babylon. In that day, all of those who are begotten in Babylon, who are Jews and Zionists, he will make you as a sign. Why is Zerubbabel a sign? Begotten in Babylon means come out of Babylon. In this instance, for I have chosen you. That's when the Jews and all Israel and Zionists who are begotten in Babylon will be chosen again. That is, therefore, the day of redemption. Whether anybody likes it or not, that's the day of redemption. And the war of the Maccabees versus Antiochus IV was a forerunner of that. What is coming is far greater. So what I'm saying to you right now is, what I'm pointing out to you, this situation that just happened in Syria puts Vladimir Putin and his Russia in a very, very, very stressful situation. He essentially, and the Iranians, have just gotten their butts kicked out of the Middle East. As if things were not going rough enough for him in Ukraine. And I'm telling you, and for reasons, whatever reasons that might be, I'm telling you right now that they are going, who is they? Well, you know who they are. They are going to try to get every advantage against Russia before Inauguration Day. There are going to be pardons, so many, of criminals who were using the war as a way to profit. And I dare say they won't do anything to stay out of jail. Because it is better for the current crop to be in the bunkers than to be in federal prison. I want you to think about that. You think people won't do desperate things to stay out of prison, straight out of federal prison? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. They started nuclear war. They're going to get dug up out of there. It's going to happen. The two witnesses with their plague of blood on the water is going to make it happen. They're going to come out and face the music. But I just want you to understand, be ready, be ready, be ready. And if it doesn't happen this Hanukkah, be ready for the next one, or the next one, because it could very well be this one. And if you're not ready, to get yourself on an airliner and fly to Israel like it says in Isaiah 60, verse 8 and 9, then I guess you're just going to have to stay here and suffer the consequences.